Online students, do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Did you attend online classes yesterday? Huh? Did you attend the online class yesterday? Okay, so then tell me what we talked about. What was the topic we discussed in the last theory class? Interpolation. Okay, so today I'll be discussing in details. So again, in interpolation, what will be the problem, main problem? So some set of data points will be given. So data points will be obtained from some experiment. Experiment is not like it is a very critical experiment. Very simple. Some simple experiment may also be there. I told you that suppose you want to find the exact relationship between time and temperature. Suppose today, throughout the day, what is the exact relationship? How to write down the temperature versus time, time versus temperature relationship in terms of function. So it is very difficult to do because you do not know what is the exact relationship. But how can you write down some simple relationship between the time versus temperature? So what you will be doing? So at a regular interval, you keep track of the time. Suppose at 7 a.m. what is the temperature? At 8 a.m. what is the temperature? And keep on doing that. So at the end of the day, you will get some set of data points. Okay. At the end of the day, you'll get some set of data points. So suppose the data points are x0, y0, x1, y1, up to let's say x10, y10, 11 data points we have collected. So if you plot the data point in 2 dimensions, so this side is x-axis, this side is y-axis, and these are the data points. If you plot them, how many points I've plotted? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So these are the data points you have plotted. So from there you can cannot immediately identify what would have been the relationship between the time versus temperature. But you can draw a curve passing through all the data points, and that you can treat as a relationship between the time versus temperature. Okay. Now, if nothing is mentioned, then there are infinite way to draw a curve or pass a curve through the points. So in interpolation, in our particular topic, we are going to discuss about polynomial interpolation. So we are going to fit only polynomial. We are going to pass only polynomials through the data points, not any other kind of curves. There are some other kind of interpolation like trigonometric interpolation, interpolation by Bessel functions. So we are not going to talk about them right now. Also, if the degree of the polynomial is not mentioned, then several students may pass several polynomials through these points. For example, if I consider these three simple points, these three data points, and if I ask you, okay, tell me a curve which passes through the data points, some students may simply say, okay, this is the curve. Okay, some other student may say, no, sir, this is not the curve. I will be taking this particular curve passing through the data points. Or some other student may draw a curve in another way. By increasing the degree, they can increase the degree and each polynomial will be passing through the curve. So if nothing is mentioned, it is very difficult to analyze because different student will be considering different kind of polynomial. So to make the process unique, the restriction will be if the data points are n plus 1, then you will be interpolating the data points by at most n degree polynomials. So if the data points are n plus 1, you are going to interpolate them by at most n degree polynomial. So at most n degree होने पे क्या होंगे, ये polynomial जो आप पास कराएंगे वो यूनिक हो जाएंगे. तो सबके लिए सेम polynomial होगा. तो that I am going to discuss. So the requirement is नेक्स्ट क्लास से टाइम पे आया करो, नहीं तो अलाउ नहीं करेंगे, पहली बार है इसलिए। क्योंकि ये 8 बजे की क्लास नहीं है, 8 बजे की क्लास भी होंगे तब भी 8-5 तक अलाउ करेंगे, उसके बाद नहीं करेंगे। और 9 AM से जो क्लास होंगे उस पर एग्जैक्टली टाइम पे आना है। और थोड़े इतने जगह है, स्पेस देके बैठो, इसलिए सबको बुला नहीं रहे हैं और सारे एक साथ बैठ गए। दोस्तों हॉस्टल में निभाओगे, क्लास में दूर दूर बैठो, सारे लोग बैठो, जाओ उधर बैठो गैप देके। क्या हुआ, तुम लोग अलग से बोलना पड़ेगा क्या? गैप देके बैठो पीछे, इसीलिए नहीं बुला रहे हैं एक साथ ना। आप लोग 5 लोग हैं, देखिए, जाओ जाओ जाओ, थोड़ा गैप देके। हाँ हाँ, गैप देके बैठना। Okay, so main thing here I'll be considering, so if the data points are, if the data points are n plus 1, then interpolate the, then the degree of the interpolating polynomial should be at most n। और ऐसे होने पे क्या होगा, the polynomial will become unique, so all of you will be ending up with same polynomial if you do the calculation. In this case the interpolating polynomial will be unique. Now another way, another purpose for interpolation is, suppose you have a very complicated function, several kind of terms are included, trigonometric, exponential, logarithmic, and any other kind of functions, you know, very complicated curve, and it is very difficult to analyze that. It is very difficult to differentiate that. It is very difficult to integrate that. And suppose that kind of calculation is required in your problem, then what you can do from that particular function? You create a 11 set of data point, or 21 set of data point, or 15 set of data points, any number of data points, and using that data point you recreate the function in terms of polynomial. Is not it? So very complicated function is there which is very difficult to analyze. What you do, you create your own data set from the given function. You take some arbitrary number of inputs and you find out the corresponding outputs, and from those data point you recreate the function in terms of polynomials. And polynomials are very easy to handle, very easy to differentiate, very easy to integrate. So that you can do. No, quadratic, not quadratic. It is up to your wish. What will be the degree? Suppose you want to approximate the function by 100-degree polynomial, then you will create 101 data point. And if you keep on increasing the degree of the polynomial, the approximation will be better and better. But not all the time. Something will be missing. I will be telling that at the beginning and at the end there will be a huge fluctuation if the degree is increasing. That I will be telling. So now how this is true? Interpolating polynomial will be unique. That is very easy to answer. So tell me, if you have a polynomial equation Pn(x) equals to 0, degree of the polynomial is n, then how many roots it has? Exactly n roots. If you consider both complex and real, so it has exactly n roots, considering both real and complex cases. Okay, exactly n roots, both real and complex are included. Students, in online mode, if you have any doubt, you can ask me at any time. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Both are both real and complex are included. Okay. So how many data points are there? N plus 1. And by which degree polynomial we are interpolating them? N degree. So let not at most n degree polynomial, at most n, because you cannot determine the degree prior to finding the polynomial, because data points may be 10 but the polynomial may be of degree 1. Suppose all the data points are linear exactly. While updating the data points, suppose they all are linear, so the polynomial will be of degree 1. So it does not matter how many data points are there. So by at most n degree polynomial. So let Px, so suppose there are more than at most n degree polynomial. There are more than one at most n degree polynomial. I told you that interpolating polynomial will be unique. If possible, suppose there are more than one at most n degree polynomial. Okay, so more than one. So suppose PA nx, I should not use that subscript n, otherwise you'll be thinking exactly n. I am telling at most n. So yeah, Px and Qx are two such polynomial. So Px is of degree at most n, Qx is of degree at most n. So if you consider the difference polynomial R of x as P of x minus Q of x, what is the degree of R of x? At most n. So it is at most n degree polynomial. Is at most n degree polynomial. Now, before I do further calculation, tell me what is P of xi. So data points were n plus 1, they were x0, y0, x1, y1 up to xn, yn. So what is P of xi? Polynomial will be passing through the data points. So what will be P of xi? Yi. Each polynomial, interpolating polynomial is passing through the data points. So P of xi is yi. For all I starting from 0, 1 up to n. What is Q of xi? Q of xi is another interpolating polynomial. So what is Q of xi? Yi. Starting from I equals to 0, 1, 2 up to n. So what is R of xi then? Look at the definition of R of x. So tell me what is R of xi? Yi minus yi. 0. For how many i's? 0, 1, 2 up to n. So R of xi equals to 0. So R of x has a root at xi. Achha, dark. Okay. Yi minus yi equals to 0. For I equals to, remove कर देते हैं. Yi minus yi, that is 0. For how many i's? For I equals to 0, 1, 2 up to n. So how many roots the equation has? n. गिनो, सही से गिनो. N plus 1. R of x has exactly how many roots? N plus 1. और डिग्री कितने हैं R of x के? At most n. तो at most n डिग्री पॉलिनोमियल के n plus 1 रूट होते हैं क्या? नहीं हो सकते. So that is a contradiction. Huh? So here, so suppose if I note this line by A and this line by B, so from A, R of x has R of x equals to 0. From A, R of Ax equals to 0 has how many roots? At most n roots from A, because it was at most n degree polynomial, so it has at most n roots. And from B, how many roots you can see? R of Ax equals to 0 has n plus 1 roots. So are not they contradictory to each other? So for which case, for what kind of R of X, both the statements will be true? Identity. What kind of identity? What is R of X? Tell me in terms of polynomial. So R of X is a polynomial. So what kind of polynomial? For what kind of polynomial both the statement A and true will be true? R of X equals to 0. If R of X equals to 0, then both are valid. Okay. So it implies that R of X equals to 0. कहाँ 0 हुआ है ना? मैंने R of X equals to P of X minus Q of X पकड़े थे, 0 तो नहीं है उस पे. I assume that R of X is the difference of the polynomial Px and Q of X. From there, I determined that R of X has to be 0. So if R of X is 0, then what is happening? Identically 0. Not R of X is 0 for some X. It is identically 0 function. No. From A, I have written that R of X equals to 0. That equation has at most n roots. And you see that function is identically 0. 0 root and identically 0 to are different thing. Sin x equals to 0 has how many roots? At n pi, it has a root for n equals to 1, 2, 3, 0, minus 1, minus 2. But sin x is not identically 0. So that kind of thing I was telling here. R of X equals to 0 has at most n roots. And from B, you obtain that R of X equals to 0 has n plus 1 roots. So both are contradictory. Only possible case is R of X is identically 0 function. So if R of X is identically 0, that is implying P of X minus Q of X is identically 0. It implies that P of X is identically Q of X. Three symbols are written to determine both are same function. Equals to अगर लिखेंगे तो इक्वेशन हो जाएगा. So P of X polynomial is exactly same as QX polynomial. तो क्या हुआ? अगर n plus 1 डेटा पॉइंट्स है और उसको अगर एटमोस्ट n डिग्री पॉलिनोमियल से इंटरपोलेट करते हैं तो आपको यूनिक पॉलिनोमियल मिलेगा. तो सबके लिए सेम आंसर. So that is why this criteria will be used in this interpolation unit. Now there is another way to prove. It is not like you have to prove this way only. So I can tell you another alternative approach to prove that there is a unique polynomial if you interpolate n plus 1 data points by at most n degree polynomial. So let the polynomial be alternative proof. हाँ. एटमोस्ट n होंगे तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? P of X to at most n plus 1 नो डेटा पॉइंट्स जितना होते हैं ना डिग्री एक मैं कम ले रहा हूं. ये मैंने स्टार्टिंग से ही कंसीडर किए. सपोज n प्लस डेटा पॉइंट्स आर देयर, आई विल बी इंटरपोलेटिंग देम बाय एट मोस्ट n डिग्री पॉलिनोमियल. जितने डेटा पॉइंट होंगे उससे एक डिग्री कम हो जाएंगे. पहले से ही मैं एजम्पशन कर रहा हूं. तो इक्वेशन जो px इक्वल्स टू px की डिग्री कितने हैं? एटमोस्ट n है, तो उसके एटमोस्ट n रूट होंगे. qx ये अलग पॉलिनोमियल है जिसका डिग्री भी एटमोस्ट n है. नहीं करेंगे नहीं. अगर क्वाड्रेटिक अगर करेंगे 2 डेटा पॉइंट से तो यूनिक नहीं है. 2 डेटा पॉइंट अगर होंगे तो 1 डिग्री का पॉलिनोमियल निकालेंगे. 1 डिग्री का पॉलिनोमियल क्या होते हैं? स्ट्रेट लाइन होते हैं. तो 2 पॉइंट से एक ही स्ट्रेट लाइन पास होंगे. ठीक है, इसलिए एक कम कर रहे हैं.
सर वो इंटरपोलेटिंग
एक मिनट
पॉलिनोमियल
someone
विल
is
बी
asking
यूनिक,
something.
तो
हाँ
मतलब
हेलो.
कि क्या कोई, यस सर, सर मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ क्या सर वो लाइन जो लिखी थी इंटरपोलेटिंग पॉलिनोमियल विल बी यूनिक, तो सर क्या कोई और पॉलिनोमियल उन डेटा पॉइंट से नहीं पास कर सकता मतलब?
नहीं और नहीं करेंगे. अगर अगर आपने डेटा पॉइंट्स n+1 है और आपने डिग्री फिक्स कर दी है कि एटमोस्ट n डिग्री पॉलिनोमियल ही आपको फाइंड करने हैं तो ये यूनिक हो जाएंगे. मैंने प्रूव किया ना अभी.
ओके यस सर.
और एक तरीके से प्रूव करते हैं जो आप लोगों के बहुत इजीली अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं. सो लेट द पॉलिनोमियल p of x, सपोज यू आर फाइंडिंग एटमोस्ट n डिग्री पॉलिनोमियल. सो एटमोस्ट n डिग्री पॉलिनोमियल को कैसे लिखते हैं? a0 प्लस a1x प्लस a2x स्क्वायर प्लस an x power n. This is the arbitrary n degree polynomial at most. Why n minus 1? n power x power n. I am starting from a0. अगर n डिग्री पॉलिनोमियल के n+1 कोएफिशिएंट्स होते हैं, कांस्टेंट टर्म को भी आपको लेने हैं. ओके, सो दिस इज द पॉलिनोमियल पासिंग थ्रू alternative proof. Passing through let's say x0 y0 x1 y1 up to xn yn, n+1 डेटा पॉइंट्स. तो आपको कितने इक्वेशन मिलेंगे? px पॉलिनोमियल जो एटमोस्ट n डिग्री के हैं वो n+1 पॉइंट के थ्रू पास हो रहे हैं. तो आपको कितने इक्वेशन मिलेंगे? n+1 इक्वेशन मिलेंगे. और ए पॉलिनोमियल में अननोन क्या था? a0 a1 a2 an. So if you pass the polynomial through x0 y0, you will get y0 equals to a0 plus a1 x0 plus a2 x0 square up to so n x0 power n. So that is one equation. If you pass the polynomial through the point x1 y1, you will get y1 equals to a0 plus a1 x plus a1 x1 plus a2 x1 square plus up to an x1 power n. This is second equation. Similarly, if you pass the polynomial through the last data point xn yn, you will get yn equals to a0 plus a1 xn plus a2 xn square up to an xn power n. हाँ, ये कितने हो जाएंगे? n+1. So unknowns are, I'll highlight them. Unknowns are these. y0, y1, yn, x0, x1, xn, they are known to you. They are data points. So this is a system of equation, linear equation. How many equation, how many unknowns are there? n+1 equations with n+1 unknowns. So this system के यूनिक सोल्यूशन कब होते हैं? ये सिस्टम जो मैंने लिखा इसके यूनिक सोल्यूशन कब होंगे? मान लो आप क्रेमर्स रूल यूज कर रहे हैं. क्रेमर्स रूल सबको पता है ना? तो उसमें कौन सी केस में यूनिक सोल्यूशन होते हैं? अगर डिटरमिनेंट ऑफ द कोएफिशिएंट मैट्रिक्स 0 हो जाए तो यहाँ पे कोएफिशिएंट मैट्रिक्स कौन सा है? डिटरमिनेंट a0 a1 a2 up to n, और ऐसे चलेंगे a0. No, this is not the coefficient, these are the unknowns. a0s are the unknowns. x1 x2 x0, these are the knowns values. So you were saying wrong thing. So it will be 1 x0 square up to x0 power n, 1 x1 square up to x1 power n, 1 xn square up to xn power n. So this is a determinant of cross n+1 cross n+1 cross n+1, and if you find out the determinant, it will be coming non-zero value. It is certain if the data points are distinct. and obviously we will be considering distinct data point at different values of x. So if all xi's are distinct from each other, which is eventually true, so then this determinant is going to be non-zero. This is particular determinant is called Vandermonde determinant. I don't actually remember the spelling. Vandermonde determinant. Its value will be coming x0 minus x1 into x1 minus x2 in this way. So product of those values will be there. So those values will be non-zero. So this is a non-zero determinant. तो Cramer's rule में क्या होंगे? यूनिक सॉल्यूशन हो जाएंगे, होंगे ना? So if it is a unique solution, then a0, a1, a2, an, these are unique values. तो यूनिक वैल्यू अगर हो गए a0, a1, a2 अप टू n के, तो पॉलिनोमियल भी यूनिक हो गए. So this is another way to say that the interpolating polynomial, if its degree is at most n and the data points are n plus 1, then this polynomial is unique. Now, so a0, a1, a2 up to n has unique solution. That means the polynomial p of x is unique. Okay. Now, few things are there, sir, which I am not going to discuss in this unit. The calculations are very advanced. Theory is very advanced. Like we are approximating the function by a polynomial. So how to determine what degree polynomial will be approximating the data? Suppose you have a set of data points and you want to approximate the data point by a polynomial. So what degree polynomial will be representing the data points in most suitable way? So to answer this question, we have to study further. So we'll see whether we'll be able to answer this question at the end of the unit or not. Another thing is, how do you know that? So I told you that if a very complicated function is there, you can recreate the function in terms of polynomial by creating a new set of data point, then you interpolate the data point by polynomial. So how do you know what degree polynomial will be approximate the given function in a most suitable way? And the next more advanced question is, how do you even know that any kind of complicated function can be approximated by polynomial? You have to know that it is possible. Any kind of complicated function, any kind of function can be approximated by polynomial. So the question is not any kind of, the answer is not any kind of polynomial. A particular polynomial, not any kind of function. A particular kind of function can always be approximated by polynomial. Particular function means if the function is continuous. So if you have a very complicated function and the function is continuous, as long as it is continuous function, you can always approximate that function by polynomial, and it is due to famous mathematician Weierstrass. So Weierstrass approximation theorem. I'll just simply mention the theorem only. No proof is included. Weierstrass approximation theorem. This proof is very difficult. When I sometimes forget it. Approximation. So this theorem is saying, if you consider any kind of continuous function, any continuous function, so before you start your calculation, it is guaranteed that it is possible. So any continuous function f of x on the interval, you will be considering the polynomial in a certain interval, not polynomial, you will be considering the function in a certain interval. So any continuous function f of x on the interval a comma b can be approximated by a polynomial. So this particular theorem was proved in 1885, in the year 1885. Very old result. So if the f of x is the function, so it will be depending on your choice, how much close the polynomial you want for the given function. So if f of x is the given function, complicated function, and if you want to approximate by a polynomial, then it is possible. So if you choose a epsilon which is greater than 0 quantity, okay. So then for this f of x, there exists a polynomial Pnx. Degree is not mentioned here. It will be depending on the function. For some function, degree may be 1. For some function, degree may be 2. For some function, degree may be 100 or something else. So, but there exists a polynomial of degree n. N will be depending on epsilon. So f of x minus Pnx, their difference will be less than epsilon for all x belongs to the interval a comma b. So if you write down, the same statement can be written as f of x Pnx minus epsilon less than f of x less than Pnx plus epsilon for all x belongs to a comma b. Okay. So what is the statement it is saying? F of x. So tell me, what is this part? What is this part? This part is a function. Pnx minus epsilon. Okay, that is a function. And Pnx plus epsilon, that is another function. So if you plot it, or rather let me write down, same thing I can write down this way. F of x minus epsilon less than Pnx less than f of x plus epsilon. Both are same. So what this is saying, so f of x is known to you, that was the given function. F of x minus epsilon. Epsilon is chosen by you and greater than 0 quantity. So f of x minus epsilon, that is known function to you. F of x plus epsilon, that is another function known to you. So let me write down. So suppose this is the interval a comma b, and suppose this is the function f of x. Suppose a simple function I have taken to make the graph simple. Okay, so this is f of x, y equals to f of x. So f of x minus epsilon, that will be a curve parallel to f of x below f of x. Okay, f of x minus epsilon, that will be a curve parallel to f of x. So suppose epsilon is this much. So this is f of x value, epsilon is this much. So this is f of x minus epsilon, y equals to f of x minus epsilon. F of x plus epsilon will be a curve parallel to f of x above that. So this is f of x plus epsilon, f of x plus epsilon. So what the statement is saying, Weierstrass approximation theorem, that whatever epsilon you consider, it does not matter. If it is very close to 0, then also it is possible to find a polynomial which will be lying in this band. So there will be a polynomial which will be lying in this band in the interval a comma b. Whatever epsilon you consider, it is possible to find a polynomial which will be lying inside this band, f of x plus epsilon and f of x minus epsilon. So if you choose epsilon close to 0 and 0, this band is becoming narrower and narrower. So then also it is possible to find out a polynomial which will be lying in the band. So what you are basically saying, that you can now represent f of x by that polynomial. Yes. Huh? Yes. So that is the Weierstrass approximation theorem. It is very beautiful result. It is possible. It is always possible to find such polynomial. Okay. So this result will give you the motivation. Okay, this kind of thing is possible. So we can start the calculation. So now the thing is, why to study this particular unit? Because you already know you can find out the polynomial by this manner. Suppose n plus 1 data points are there. So you assume that the at most 10-degree polynomial is this. From there, you are getting n plus 1 equation with n plus 1 unknowns. Solve them. Identify the coefficients and write down the polynomial. Or if you want to approximate a given complicated function by polynomial, you create your own data set. And from there, you write down this kind of equation. So it's okay if the dimension of the system, you are solving a system of linear equations, and if the dimension is small, for example, 3 unknowns, or 4 equation 4 unknowns, or at most 10 equation 10 unknowns, sorry, then it is a bit easier to do the calculation. But if the dimension is increasing, then the complication of the system is also increasing. And solving a system of linear equation, if the dimension is very large, it is not at all easy job. If you must have to do, then you do. If there is some alternative approach, you should use that. Because of solving a system of linear equation, it is mandatory. In many cases, you will study some numerical methods how to solve a system of linear equation, but they may be sometime converging, they may be sometime diverging. But if we can avoid it, better to do that. So what we are going to do, so if the data points are large, solving system of linear equation is bit difficult. So whatever we are going to study in this unit, that will be to overcome this calculation, solving system of linear equation. So whatever method we are going to learn, that has to be more simpler and sophisticated compared to solving system of linear equation. Because you already know this is the end process. It is always there for you. This particular technique is always there to find out the polynomial. Yes or no? So whatever method you are going to study, that has to be simple compared to this solving system of linear equation. And that has to be sophisticated, very simple to remember, simple to evaluate. So we'll see that kind of thing will be happening. But before that, you have to study some preliminary things. Those will be at the beginning will be seem like meaningless thing, but believe me, they will be very beautiful. So what we are going to do, first we are going to classify the data points in two sets. One will be evenly spaced data set, and another will be unevenly spaced data set. So data points will be classified into two parts. Because we are going to learn different technique to interpolate, to find the polynomial, interpolating the data points in case of evenly spaced data points and in case of unevenly spaced data points. So evenly spaced, and here unevenly spaced. By the way, do you know my name? All of you, raise your hand who does not know my name. Must be some students. So at least you should know your name of the teacher. Eh? Maybe in this current scenario, later you can forget. That will happen eventually. Okay, so the data points are classified into two parts, evenly spaced and unevenly spaced. So evenly spaced means the x values. X values are called nodes. If the nodes are at a regular interval, the difference between two consecutive x values is fixed for all the data points, then the data points are called evenly spaced. We are not considering y values or the output values, only input values. So if xn minus xn minus 1 equals to 8, which is fixed for all n equals to 1, 2, 3 up to n. Okay, so if the data points are at a regular interval, the nodes are at a regular interval, then the data points are evenly spaced, and this is otherwise. So let me give you some example. tell me about these. Suppose the data points are 1, 5, 2, 7, 3, 8, anything I can write down, 4, 10. These data points are evenly spaced because x values are 1, 2, 3, 4 at a regular interval. What about this one? 1, 5, 2, 7, 3, 8, 5, 10. Unevenly spaced. Okay. So 5, 10. So 1, 2, 3, they were at a regular interval, but next is 5. So now it makes the data set unevenly spaced. So we are going to learn some technique for evenly spaced and some techniques for unevenly spaced. The technique for unevenly spaced, let me tell you at this point. So we are going to learn some technique or method to find the polynomial for evenly spaced data points and some technique for unevenly spaced data point. The method or technique for unevenly spaced data points can also be used for evenly spaced data point, but the converse is not true. So method for unevenly spaced, they are more general. They can be used for any kind of data point. And we are going to learn some technique which are particularly applicable only to evenly spaced data point. Okay, so let me going to name a few. So for evenly spaced data points, let me write down few names. One will be Newton's forward difference formula. Another will be Newton's backward difference formula. Gauss forward formula. Gauss backward formula. Few other names are there. And for unevenly spaced, we are going to study Newton's Lagrange interpolation formula, Lagrange interpolation technique or interpolation formula, and one more technique we are going to learn. Only two technique for unevenly spaced, that is Newton's divided difference formula. Newton's divided difference. By the way, the names are given according to the mathematician who studied the method for the very first time. Okay, it is true in any kind of results. So Newton's divided difference formula. Sometimes it is known as or general interpolation formula. GENE, general interpolation formula. Okay. So we are going to study some preliminary results to study each of the results separately, each of the methods separately. First thing I am going to introduce will be finite differences. These are very easy to understand. Finite differences. So let me again write down the data points are x0, y0, x1, y1 up to xn, yn. So first, these are the n+1 data points. Remember, we are creating the base, so do not immediately think that things are becoming complicated. So first finite difference we are going to study forward difference. So you have seen the name You see forward difference formula. So that what is that forward difference? First you have to know. So forward difference. Forward difference. So forward difference, this is an operator or a function, you can say. So this is denoted by the symbol, this triangle, delta. Okay. So forward difference, so this will be evaluated at the output values. So delta of yn, the formula is, or let me rather write down, n is index already present in the data set. So let me write down in terms of I. So delta of yi equals to yi plus 1 minus yi. Difference of the values at I plus 1th output position minus at value at ith output position. So I plus 1th output value minus ith output value. So that is the notation for delta yi. So this is called the first order forward difference at yi. First, because the order is 1 here. So if order is 1, nothing will be mentioned, nothing will be written. So this is called first order forward difference at yi. So then tell me, what is delta y naught? Y1 minus y naught. Delta y3? Y4 minus y3. So you take a step forward minus take a step backward. So that is a forward difference. So what will be delta yn? Is that defined for the given data set? Not defined. Okay. So what will be del square yi? So this is del of yi. Okay. So del of, what is del yi? Yi plus 1 minus yi. So this operator, the properties, this is linear. So you can take the forward difference separately. So delta yi plus 1, because it is the notation we are using. So at the time of definition, we are telling that it is linear. So delta yi plus 1, so it is defined in such a way that it is linear. So delta yi plus 1 minus delta yi. So how much you are getting after simplification? Yi plus 2 minus yi plus 1 minus yi plus 1 plus yi. Okay. So yi plus 1 minus 2y plus 2. 2yi plus 1 plus yi. Okay. So using this, you can find out any second order forward difference. What will be del square y4? Del square y4. If you do not remember the formula, you can derive it. Del of y4. So del of y4 is y5 minus y4. So del of y5 minus del of y4. That you can do. So here if you use this formula, it will be y6 minus 2y5 plus y4. Similarly, you can define third order forward difference, del qyi. It will be del of del square yi. Okay, so do the calculation and tell me what value you are getting quickly. Yi plus 3. Okay. Three. Okay. So if you look at the coefficients, They are binomial coefficients in the expansion 1 minus x power n. The coefficients are in del square y2, the coefficients were 1 minus 2, 1. Here the coefficients are 1 minus 3, 3 minus 1. Similarly, if you find out del 4 yi, so the values you will know it will start with yi plus 4 and then it will decrease and the coefficients will be 1, 4, 6, 4, 1 with respective sign. Okay, so you can do that. So these are the forward difference. So this is how we are defining it. Now I'll be creating a table from the data points. Okay, so because from that table we'll be picking a particular values to create the polynomial. I can do that. Okay, forward difference table. Forward difference. Remember, we are doing all the things to avoid that solving system of linear equation. If we can solve very easily, then there is no need to do such kind of thing because that is always there, that method. Okay, sorry. So this table is created in this way. X. So suppose let us make the table simple. Suppose there are 5 data points. 5 data points. So X, Y. So input values, output values. Then first order forward difference, second order forward difference. The order will be depending on the number of data points as well as the nature of the data points. So at the beginning, you will not be able to say what will be highest order non-zero forward difference. It will be depending on the nature of data points as well as the number of data points. First order forward difference, second order forward difference, third order forward difference, fourth order forward difference, fifth order forward difference, and so on. So right now in the table, I'm taking 5 data points. X0, X1, X2, X3, X4. So how to create the table? Table is created. So whatever value you will be getting, creating the difference, that will be written at this. These are the dotted position where you will be putting the values. Okay. So the table will be looking in this way. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Y value, let me write down first. So this is Y values are values at X0, X1, X2. So this is Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4. And whatever values you are getting, now that you will be writing at this dotted position. Here, at this middle, next here, here. Fifth order forward difference will not be there for 5 data points. So it will not be there. If data points are 5, this part will not be there. Okay. So what is this value here at this dotted position? Y1 minus Y0. So that is delta Y0, which is YY minus Y0. At this dotted position, this is delta Y1, which is Y2 minus Y1. At this position, delta Y2, which is Y3 minus Y2. And this is delta Y3, Y4 minus Y3. It will be del square Y0. Value will be delta Y1 minus delta Y0. Delta Y1 minus delta Y0. Similarly, you can complete the table. Okay. Here, this element will be del cube Y0, which will be del square Y1 minus del square Y0. And so on, you will have to complete. Can you complete? So this is general structure. This is not for a given data set. So I'll quickly give you some set of data points and you find the table. So suppose the data points are So you must have to identify the order and the name of the data point from the table. So let me give you 5 data points: x, y, delta y, del square y, del qy, del 4y. If you understand only one table, remaining table will be very easy to understand. Backward difference will be same, only the name will be different little bit. So let me give the points from this note. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Outputs are 2, 4, 9, 7, 8. 2, 4, 9, 7, 8. So what are the complete the table? And I'll end the discussion today. What is the value at this position? 4 minus 2. That is 2. Very simple. Next, here 5, then minus 2, then 1, here 3, minus 7, 1 minus minus 2. So that will be 3. Here 3 minus 7 minus 7 minus 3. So minus 10. 10 here 20. So this is the table, and in Newton's forward difference formula, you have to remember this forward diagonal. This is called forward diagonal. Okay. So that diagonal will be used in Newton's forward difference formula. How? That will be discussed later. So now tell me what is the name of this particular element that you have to know. Suppose this particular element and this particular element, two elements I have circled them, tell me their name. So if the name of the data points are x0, x1, x2, x3, x4, this is y0, y1, y2, y3, y4. What is the element here? Del square y1. What is the name of this element? Del cube y1. Okay. So you are able to say that. What is this element? Del y3. Okay, fine. Del y3. Okay. So it is enough today. I'll stop. So it looks very silly what we are doing, is it not it? Be honest. Sir, ये क्या कर रहे हैं हम लोग टेबल बना के? So you'll see how easily you will be able to find out the polynomial from this table. Okay. You no, not right now. We are creating the base. These results will be used in that process. Any doubts from online students? Just a moment. Students, any doubt from online students?
Sir, what about that step division method, sir?
What about?
Step division method, sir. Step division method.
Synthetic division method.
Sir.
Oh, I told you to discuss. Okay, in class it will be a bit difficult. You can meet me if you want to discuss in details. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So that has to be discussed in a different time. That will be a bit time consuming. It will take some time.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I told you I will be discussing next theory class, but I could not do it. I already started the unit 2.
Yeah, sir. Yes.
Today I will be not. Okay, students, you may leave then. Okay.